Vinny, give us your insight on the pay-per-view then.
Yeah, the pay-per-view was really good, and I kept watching it thinking to myself, boy, this is a lot of fun. I should be more into this than I am. And I don't know if it was just me. I don't know if there was something missing from the show as a whole, but I was watching the crowd. The live crowd was just going nuts, and I kept thinking to myself, I like this, but I should be liking it more, and I don't know why I'm not.
You ate too many chips and cookies.
Is that it?
May have been. Just weren't your normal self, Vinny. This show was not as good as No Mercy.
No, that's true.
This was a good show. You actually are not at liberty to discuss the comparison since we were actually at No Mercy live.
I did watch the show.
Doesn't matter.
I can compare the pay-per-view broadcasts.
We were there live. And I would bet that if I was at this show live, it would not have been as great. I can tell by the crowd, too. The Portland crowd was awesome. That's what set that pay-per-view apart.
You don't think the Phoenix crowd was awesome?
No, not like Portland? No, not even close.
I think if you watched the pay-per-view broadcast, you would think the two crowds were pretty much the same.
Well, you weren't in Portland then.
You weren't in Phoenix.
I guarantee.
How can you judge being live in this case, it's not like one is totally dead. When you're in two hot crowds, I'm assuming going to be whichever one you're in the building for is going to seem louder.
I was watching this show here.
Yes.
And this crowd did not seem very lively to me. It was not a dead crowd, but it seemed like an average crowd. And the Portland crowd was not average in any way. They were extraordinary. And, in fact, the WWE crew was very, very happy after Portland because they thought it was perhaps the best crowd they'd performed before all year.
That's a much better point than anything else you've said so far.
And this same thing was not said about this Phoenix crowd.
I see. Well, there you go.
So anyway, the Portland crowd was better, everybody. Ray and Kane had a no-holds-barred match, which was maybe 3.25 stars if you are judging, perhaps 3. It was a fine little match. Falls Count Anywhere had 35%.
I was actually cheering for 2 out of 3 falls, and it almost won.
Actually, I've got my math here. Somehow I got 35, 35, and 26, which maybe
missing
was
4%.
37, 34, and anyway, the point was that whichever one won. So anyway, they had a match, and place was going nuts for it near the finish. Ray hit actually, Kane went for a choke slam, and Ray turned into Hurricane Rana and hit the 619, the springboard splash for the pin. Cool finish, 3.25.
Yeah, the story was basically Ray kept going for the 619 and not getting it, and Kane kept going for the choke slam and not getting it. And finally, Ray countered the choke slam into a 619, and so he won right away after that. So that all made sense. The action was good, and as I noted, the crowd was hot, and yes, this is a thumbs up.
Throughout the show, they showed all the girls in their costumes, and you've never seen a tamer costume contest. Those of you that are in college right now, you're going to have way more fun next week than we were looking at these fucking costumes right here.
I've never seen so many beautiful women made to look so uncool.
Then we had Jericho and Priceless backstage trying to recruit them to help him win tonight, and they blew him off, so it sucks to be him. We had the voting for the ECW match, which Evan won with 69% of the vote. Mark Henry got 6%. And
his reaction to getting 6% was classic.
By the way, for those of you wondering, every single voting deal on this show was completely legitimate. So for those of you wondering about some of the weird percentages, those were all real. So there you go. Those guys had a good match, 3.5 stars. Some cool near falls at the finish. Bourne turned a Twist of Fate into a backslide and then stood right up into a Twist of Fate for the pin. And hell of a lot of fun by the finish, so thumbs up.
Yeah, it suffered somewhat because as much as the fans liked Evan, as much as they wanted to see him, they still liked Matt Hardy more. And so when Evan, the small guy, was making his comeback against the big giant champion, the fans were chanting, Hardy! So that kind of failed. And then, yes, the finish was good. The finish was good, and the fans liked that. And then it was strange seeing Matt, who had won, go over and congratulate Evan, who had lost. You would think Evan would go to the champion and say, hey, way to go, you beat me. But whatever.
Whatever is right.
Whatever.
Very nitpicky right there. He was congratulating him on doing such a good job.
It came off almost patronizing to me.
Well, he was.
Well, there you go then.
He
All
was
right.
much better than the man. It was the same as Anderson Silva helping Patrick Cote up
You almost
afterwards.
beat me, yeah, man. Yes.
Yeah, you almost beat me. Maybe next time. I'm going to read my description of the women's deal here. More with the women. Beth was a Viking. Jillian was Catwoman. Maria was a Playboy bunny. Kelly was a sailor.
That's
it.
Yeah.
I couldn't even think of any jokes.
No.
This was exactly as exciting as it was.
All you need to know about this is that well, we'll get to the winner at the end. Never mind.
Crime Time against Miz and Morrison, 1.5 star. Show ground to a halt. Fucking sucked.
Yeah, it was 1.5 is pretty generous.
Miz with the hardest kick you've ever seen to the leg of Shad, and Morrison hit the neck breaker for the pin. Thumbs down.
They got the heat on Shad, and then he made the hot tag, and then they got the heat on JTG, and then all 4 guys were doing stuff, and then it ended. So yeah, 1.5 is probably like a star too high.
Jericho tried to recruit the Khali and failed. And then we had the Honkameter deal with basically Honky won by 1%, 35-34 beating Piper, which just baffled me. But anyway, he came
was
out
so happy when they announced he had won.
Yeah.
Yay, I matter.
He came down and they played his song, and the match went like 10 seconds when they did a quick spot, and Beth tripped Honky for the DQ. And then Goldust and Piper came out and beat up Santino. And Honky did, in fact, do the shake, rattle, and the fucking roll. And he looked great out there. Thumbs up to Honky.
Oh, always thumbs up to Honky. He did, in fact, he was tan. He looked good. He was happy to be there. And the fans loved him. And he did not get to sing a song, so that was disappointing. But it was great to see Tulalip Championship Wrestling's own Honky Tonk Man here on pay-per-view.
Yep. Todd interviewed Vicky Guerrero. She was horrible. I don't know if it was her fault or whose fault it was, but she fucked it all up.
Yeah.
And it was bad. And Undertaker and Big Show, last man standing, turned into a pretty damn good match. And ended with Undertaker just basically standing up after everything, including the knockout shot. And Show finally hit him with a chair and went to pick him up, and Taker put him in the Gogoplata, which actually got a huge pop. And Show tapped, but no tap outs in this match, and so Taker held on until he was deceased, and then that was that. So thumbs up for this battle here.
This was more good stuff. I was watching this. There was a point here where they were just trading punches, and we all know about Show's boxing training, and Taker's been the MMA fan for a while, and Michael Cole calls him the best pure striker ever, and they were trading these really, really awesome punches, and I was thinking, wow, these are probably the 2 best punchers in this company right now. And then I realized these men are combined like 13.5 feet tall. There's something weird about that they're the biggest and the most skilled, at least in this one aspect. But yeah, this is really, really good stuff. I can't believe Undertaker's still doing that apron leg drop. You know, it just kills him every single time, and he knows it too, because he took a giant deep breath when he went for it this time, and then he hit it, and then he hobbled away for a while.
The apron leg drop?
He does it in every match. He sets the guy up in the apron.
Do you think that's the most painful thing that he does?
It's up there.
This man, Vinny, I realize you're still young, but this man is 45 years old and 7 feet tall. Mm-hmm. Do you know what it must feel like to do that fucking old school rope walk, jumping off and landing on your feet?
Probably not good either.
I guarantee that one has to hurt more. This man just needs to stop. Then we had the Triple H versus Jeff Hardy match. Hardy got 57% of the vote. Kozlov got 38%. And sucks to be him. That was for the 3-way, actually. You got significantly less for just him. And 3.5 star match, nowhere near as good as the Portland match.
No.
And, of course, the problem was here that
no one thought Jeff had a chance of winning.
Well, no, that wasn't the problem. The problem was that he didn't win. It was no big deal when he got beat in Portland because it was so close and the people went so nuts, and they loved both guys and they loved the match. It was great enough that you thought, okay, well, he didn't win tonight, but maybe next time, maybe the next match, maybe at WrestleMania, maybe whatever. Instead, he came out here, he did all his moves, he could not win. Hunter beat him, and when it was over, you just thought, this dude just ain't good enough. And that is not what you want people to leave thinking. And this one really hurt Jeff, but well, he was out of the title picture anyway, so who fucking cares? But unless they were planning on a 3-way with Kozlov, and if they were, those plans may have changed. This was bad news for Jeff.
I did like it, though. There was a progression from the Portland match to this, because in the Portland match, the finish was Jeff hit everything he had, or threw everything he had at Hunter and hit it all, and Hunter beat him anyway. So this time Jeff said, well, I'm just going to throw everything at him more. So he hit the Whisper in the Wind and then hit it again. And then he hit the Twist of Fate and hit it again. And he hit the Swanton, and then it didn't make the cover. He ran up to hit it a second time. And Hunter still got the knees up. So, yeah, that kind of sucked to be Jeff. But, yeah, this is good, but not as good as last time. And Jeff did not come out looking like a star.
Then Jericho and Batista was the main event. Austin won the vote, 74%. So I lost the bet with Dave, but I've lost many times before with Dave. Anyway, so they had a pretty pretty good match right here. I've certainly seen better, but it was fine. A lot of near falls there to finish. The ending was actually the best part with the near falls and the ref bump, believe it or not. Dave and I talked about this, but when you have a bunch of pay-per-views in a row where you just have wrestling matches with clean finishes and no gimmicks, and then all of a sudden you have a show with a bunch of stars doing ref bumps and run-ins and it all makes sense, it works. And this fucking worked. And we had Austin take a bump, and then we had Shawn run down to referee, and he refused to count for Jericho. And so we had... let's see. Jericho screamed at Shawn and then ate a spear from Dave. Shawn went to count, but JBL pulled him out and beat him up. And then Austin started to get up, but Orton ran down and beat him up. So Jericho hit Dave with the belt, and Dave kicked out. And then Austin gave Orton a stunner. Orton took the best bump ever. And then Dave powerbombed Jericho for the death, and Austin counted the pin, and it was a great little finish there. It all made sense. It all played into the storyline, and it set up a bunch of different things. So big thumbs up for the finish and a good match to end a pretty good pay-per-view.
Yeah, the reason that worked, as you noted, is because it was the exception, particularly on this show, where everything I think had a clean finish, except I guess the Honky Tonk Man Santino match, which just shouldn't really count. Everything else was one guy beat another. And so in this one, in the main event, after a good long match, then the Carnival showed up and all the tricks came out. And like you say, everything still made sense, and so it was all easy to follow, even though there was a billion things going on. And so that was the reason the match is good, and that it was a good finish to the main event. We did not discuss the payoff to the Halloween costume contest.
Mickey won.
They brought out 47 girls.
There's more to say?
Actually, yes.
All right.
Mickey won. This is a wrong decision, although apparently the voting was done based on the photos on the website. And having seen the photos on the website, I can see how the fans would make this incorrect decision. But the real winner was Maria. The real runner-up was Maurice. And I want to give a special award, a special notice to Victoria for trying so damn hard to entertain me in her banana costume singing Peanut Butter Jelly Time. And if you go to our thread on the board, it's picture after picture. It's like 48 pictures, and it's just a girl trying really hard to look sexy or a girl trying really hard to look cool.
These are on our website?
Yeah. It's from theirs, but they just put them up on ours. But it's just...
I got to see these Mickey pictures then.
Probably under the Pix or GTFO. But, yeah, it's girl trying to look hot, girl trying to look cool, and then Victoria just trying to look as silly as possible and succeeding. And so she is great.
I don't see it in here. I've never been in this one before. I'll have to... Oh, Diva's Costume Contest. Let's see if they've got it. All right, here we go. Oh, those are just all the pictures from the actual pay-per-view. I want to see the one from WWE.com where she won. Oh, there they are. That's it?
There's like 3 of each girl if you keep scrolling down.
Oh, let's see here. They're going to need more than that. That's 2.
If you recall, my exact words were, I can see why she won.
I can't see why she won. Let's see. Who should have won here?
Maria.
Kelly.
Kelly wasn't bad.
Maurice.
That was also my runner-up.
Victoria.
See?
You know what was horribly sad about this women's deal was they kept showing these women, and as Christ is my witness, I kept looking at them and going, who in the fuck is that? Did I not?
There were a lot of them.
I just had no idea who half these women were, and I kept seeing them over and over again on this program. So,
the other sad thing is that all 16 women of these women got a pay-per-view bonus. CM Punk didn't.
Well, apparently he did.
Oh, okay.
I got to go with Maurice or Kelly. On a blonde kick of late. So I've heard. All right, let's take a musical interlude, and then we shall continue. Let's see how this works.